Hello, my name is METİN Arıdaşır. This is 398th part of explanation of my theory. All ground state electrons are at rest in all atoms. Ground state electron wavelength is 91.155 nanometer in hydrogen atom. This is the section of ring-shaped, spherical, proton-bound electron motion form that is connecting with proton in the center of electron motion form. Wrong fictitious 3.3 10 to the minus 10 meter de Broglie wavelength, wrong fictitious wave function. 1. Each proton-bound electron motion form is connected with only one proton at the center of electron motion form by making intertwined joint motion with tangential speed that is 6.28 times greater than speed of light. Tangential speed. This surface, motion surface, bilateral side in two-dimensional section or multilateral side in three-dimensional reality, cycling motion surface of electron motion form. But it is at rest, not relocating in ground state. Electron is not relocating, but in fact, since it is motion form, it has properties that are not potential properties, kinetic properties, yes, dynamic properties. 2. There are no electric or gravitational forces between proton and proton-bound electron motion form. 3. In unexcited ground state position, proton-bound electron motion form is not relocating. Relatively, proton, it is not relocating. Okay? It is at rest. But this doesn't mean it has rest mass. Rest mass, there is no rest mass. Okay? Since mass comes from electron motion form, and it is motion form, and it has wavelength. Without wavelength and motion, there is no mass. This does not mean there is a potential energy. There is no potential energy in electron motion form. This does not mean there are no kinetic energy and angular momentum for at-rest electron motion form. Since the proton-bound electron motion form, its spherical ring-shaped motion surface have kinetic energy, non-at-rest mass, tangential speed, angular momentum, etc. 4. In unexcited electron conditions, there are no thermal energy, no heat and temperature, no light. Here they are absolute zero temperature, absolute darkness conditions. Now, one of the results of these conclusions is that Since the electron is at rest, and since the velocity of electron is zero, and so, since the wavelength would be undefined according to the Broglie matter wave formula, here, if I didn't forget, I guess this was the formula, and electron velocity, if it is zero, this wavelength would be undefined. Okay, this is wrong. Wrong, I'm so sorry. I may forget the exact formula, but I know if velocity of electron is zero, wavelength would be undefined. I know that. For the Broglie wavelength formula. Yes, again, I'm so sorry. Again, since the wavelength would be undefined according to the Broglie matter wave formula, it is not possible to say about the Broglie wavelength of electron in hydrogen atom at ground state. But they say the Broglie wavelength of the hydrogen atom is 3.329 10 to the minus 10 meter, wrongly. By the way, according to my theory and my formulas, initial unexcited wavelength of proton-bound electron motion form in hydrogen atom at ground state is 91.155 nanometer. This wavelength corresponds ground state or ionization energy of electron in hydrogen atom 21.8 10 to the minus 19 kilogram meter square meter per second square, or joules. Yes. Have a good afternoon. See you later.